Have you ever heard a story so chilling, so real, that it makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up? Tonight, I'm going to tell you one. This isn't just another campfire tale. It's based on real events that have left an entire community paralyzed with fear. Our story takes place on an old, forgotten bridge, a structure isolated from the town, shrouded in fog and even darker rumors. For years, people have spoken in hushed tones about this place, about the strange things that happen after the sun goes down. But our story doesn't begin with a rumor. It begins with a body. And after this incident, the bridge's haunted reputation was sealed forever. So, turn down the lights, get comfortable, and prepare yourself for the story of the haunted bridge. It all started on a bleak Tuesday morning. A man's body was discovered near the base of the old bridge. He had been missing for several days. His family was frantic, posting flyers, pleading for any information. The police had launched an extensive search, combing through the woods and dragging the nearby river. But they found nothing. It was as if he had vanished into thin air, and then he just appeared, lying there, near the moss-covered stone of the bridge's foundation. The discovery sent a shockwave through the small town, but what truly unsettled the investigators was the state of the body. There were strange, almost symbolic markings on his skin, unlike anything they had ever seen. And his face was a frozen mask of pure, abject terror. His eyes were wide open, staring at something no one else could see. The official cause of death was listed as a heart attack, but everyone who saw him knew that something had literally scared him to death. After the body was found, the quiet whispers about the bridge turned into loud, fearful warnings. The old folk tales that were once dismissed as children's stories suddenly took on a terrifying new life. People began to share their own unsettling experiences. They claimed that if you dared to cross the bridge after midnight, the air would suddenly turn ice cold, even on a warm summer night. You'd feel a prickling sensation on your skin, the unmistakable feeling of being watched. Some swore they heard faint whispers carried on the wind, indecipherable words that seemed to come from right beside their ear. Passing drivers reported their car radios crackling with static and their headlights flickering and dying as they crossed, only to work perfectly again once they reached the other side. The bridge was no longer just a piece of infrastructure. It had become a place of legend, a known paranormal hotspot that most residents now avoided at all costs. The story of the man who died of fright was on everyone's lips, a grim reminder that some legends are rooted in a horrifying reality. But as fear grew, so did curiosity. In every tune, there's always someone who wants to test the limits, to see the truth for themselves. In this case, that person was a young local man named Ethan. Ethan was an amateur filmmaker and a skeptic. He'd heard all the stories, seen the fear in his neighbor's eyes, but he believed there had to be a logical explanation for everything. A draft of wind, an animal, the power of suggestion. So he decided to document it all. One starless night, armed with his high-definition camera and a powerful flashlight, he drove out to the bridge. He set up his camera on a tripod, pointing it down the long, dark expanse of the structure. The air was still unnervingly quiet. He started recording, narrating his thoughts, explaining that he was there to debunk the myths. For the first hour, nothing happened. The only sounds were the crickets and the distant hum of the highway. Ethan was starting to feel a little foolish, ready to pack it in. But then, he reviewed some of the footage he'd just shot. His blood ran cold. On the screen behind where he had been standing, faint, shadowy figures flickered in and out of frame. They moved unnaturally, gliding across the bridge where there was absolutely no one. He was completely alone out there, or so he thought. The footage was undeniable. These were not tricks of light. They were shapes, distorted and humanoid, moving in the darkness just beyond his flashlight's beam. The skeptic in him was silenced, replaced by a primal fear. He was not alone. Ethan's heart was pounding in his chest. He grabbed his flashlight, swinging the beam wildly across the bridge, trying to catch a glimpse of what his camera had seen. But there was nothing, just the empty, decaying structure stretching into the oppressive darkness. He tried to rationalize a technical glitch, a smudge on the lens, but he knew better. He was about to pack up and get out of there as fast as he could when he felt it. A sudden, bone-deep cold that had nothing to do with the night air. He looked up, toward the middle of the bridge. And that's when he saw it. A figure was standing there. It was tall and slender, almost transparent, its form wavering like a heat haze. It was completely silent, just standing. Ethan froze, unable to scream. Unable to move it. Then, slowly, the apparition raised a long, thin arm and pointed. It was pointing directly at him. There was no face, no features, just an overwhelming sense of sorrow and accusation emanating from the silent form. The moment felt like an eternity. Then, as suddenly as it appeared, the figure dissolved into the darkness, vanishing without a sound. Ethan was left alone on the bridge, shaking uncontrollably. The image of that pointing finger burned into his mind. He scrambled for his gear and ran to his car, never once looking back. The footage Ethan captured went viral locally. It was shaky, raw, and absolutely terrifying. It showed the shadowy figures and, for a few fleeting seconds, the faint outline of the apparition before it vanished. People who were once skeptical could no longer deny that something was happening at that bridge. The police were forced to reopen their investigation, not just into the man's death, but into the bridge itself. They interviewed Ethan, analyzed his footage, and sent teams to investigate the site day and night, but they found nothing. No physical evidence, no rational explanation. The experts they brought in to examine the video couldn't find any signs of tampering. It was genuine. Officially, the case remained unsolved, another file in a cabinet marked unexplained. But the locals knew. They believed the pointing figure was the spirit of the man who had died, forever bound to the place of his terrifying end, warning others to stay away. The bridge became a forbidden zone, a monument to a mystery that no one wanted to solve anymore. So, what really happened on that bridge? Was it all a series of tragic coincidences, fueled by mass hysteria and local folklore? Was Ethan's footage just a clever hoax, or a trick of the light and shadow? Or is there truly something supernatural lurking in the darkness of that old, isolated crossing? A spirit trapped between worlds, replaying its final, terrifying moments for anyone who dares to venture too close. To this day, the bridge stands as a silent testament to the events that unfolded. Thrill seekers and paranormal investigators still visit, hoping to capture their own evidence, to understand the mystery. But most people stay away, respecting the unspoken warning. The bridge keeps its secrets, and perhaps some secrets are better left undisturbed. The real question is, after hearing this story, would you be brave enough to visit this bridge at night? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy diving into the unknown, make sure to subscribe for more strange and terrifying stories. Sleep tight.